On the scorching SEAL training grounds, a cocky young recruit mocked the quiet old janitor until a single rolled up sleeve revealed a tattoo that exposed a secret fact that shocked the entire base and changed the recruit's life forever. Before we dive in, tell us in the comments, where in the world are you watching from? They thought he was just the janitor, a wrinkled old man in a faded red flannel shirt, tan work pants stiff with salt and thyme, and a battered ball cap pulled low over pale blue eyes that had seen too much sweeping the SEAL training grounds under the brutal Coronado sun, as if it were a holy duty. His broom scratching sand off concrete like it was sacred ritual, never speaking unless spoken to, never flinching under the barked orders of instructors or the smug laughter of recruits, who thought age meant weakness, irrelevance, decay, but they didn't know that beneath the quiet, beneath the limp and the silence and the broom, beat the heart of a warrior so lethal, so decorated, and so broken by history that the government erased him from it. And the only clue to who he was lay inked into the thin skin of his forearm, barely visible beneath rolled sleeves, an old tattoo of a trident impaled through a skull, with cryptic numbers beneath it, numbers that meant nothing to the young, but had once turned mountains into ash, and oceans into graves. And among the 100 recruits shouting and sweating and vomiting through drills, one recruit, McBride, young, brash, handsome, born with a silver spoon and a cocky tongue, took special pleasure in mocking him, tossing crushed water bottles at his feet, calling him Dirt Grandpa and Mop Pope, laughing with his squad as the old man said nothing, never even lifted his gaze, and McBride, who had never been ignored in his life, grew more venomous, pushing, needing a reaction. Because a man like McBride only felt power when someone flinched, and so one day, after a grueling mud run that left half the unit puking, McBride saw the old man sweeping near the chow line, and something in him snapped. He stomped over, grabbed the broom, and hurled it like a spear into the obstacle course, shouting, "You don't belong here, old man, this is warrior ground." And time froze, the sun itself seeming to pause mid-sky as every eye turned, every breath caught, every instructor stiffened, not because McBride had disrespected a janitor, but because of the slow, surgical way the old man straightened up, rolled his sleeve, and held out his arm, revealing the tattoo like a blade drawn from scabbard. And in that moment the silence screamed, because an older instructor, a former SEAL himself, dropped his clipboard and whispered, "No F asterisk asterisk asterisking way. That's him." And a wave of hushed recognition rippled across the field, recruits murmuring, "That's DevGru. That's SEAL Team 6. Those are Bin Laden's coordinates." And then the SEAL commander grizzled, unshakable, the kind of man who made generals sweat, stormed out of the control hut. Face like thunder, voice like war, stand down. And McBride, suddenly pale, stammered, I didn't know, sir." And the commander marched right up to him, eyes blazing, and said, "You just disrespected Chief Petty Officer Hank Rawlins' Medal of Honor to Navy crosses, for silver stars, 9 bronze stars, 31 confirmed kills, 47 black ops, 18 hostages saved, 6 brothers buried by his own hand. And the only reason your arrogant ass gets to train here is because he bled for this sand. Before you were born, and McBride's smirk crumbled like sandbags in a storm, and Chief Rawlins, still calm, looked him in the eye and said, "You think noise makes a warrior? Try silence after your whole team's gone." And the field stood still. The only sound the distant gulls over the ocean and the quiet rattle of the broom handle in the wind. And from that day, everything changed. Rawlins went back to sweeping. But now every recruit moved when he passed. Every instructor saluted him. Even the commander stood when he entered a room, and McBride, shattered by shame, began staying late after drills, watching him, trying to understand what kind of man survived the things legends were written about. Without saying a word, and one night, under the stars and the soft hum of bass generators, McBride approached him and said, "Why do you sweep, sir?" And Rawlins, never looking up, said, "Because these boys bleed here, and I make sure their blood doesn't go to waste." And something broke open in McBride. A dam of arrogance replaced by hunger, reverence, fire, and he trained harder, led softer, lifted others instead of stepping on them. And Rawlins watched, never praising, but sometimes nodding. And that nod meant more than any medal. And when Hell Week came and bodies broke and spirits shattered and 5 men quit by day 2, McBride pushed through, dragging a teammate with a torn ACL through freezing surf, hallucinating from exhaustion and during the night swim. When his lungs filled with ice and fear, he saw a figure on the dock, a silhouette holding a broom like a staff, and knew the chief had come to watch, and that was enough. He passed, barely, and on graduation day, in dress whites and polished boots. McBride didn't scan the crowd for family or friends, he looked for the old man. And when he saw him standing just outside the circle, alone, holding a folded American flag that looked too heavy for its size, he marched over, pulled the trident from his chest, and offered it to him, hand trembling. But Rawlins closed his fingers round it, then handed it back and said, "Give it to the ghost you find next the one no one sees," and turned, broom in hand, and walked into the wind, disappearing like smoke from a battlefield. And years passed, and McBride became a SEAL, then a team leader, then a legend in his own right. But everywhere he went in Syria, Somalia, Ukraine, he carried that broom tattooed on his arm, a silent oath to sweep clean the blood of brothers, to honor the man who taught him that real warriors don't brag, don't boast, don't scream they survive. They serve, they endure, and they leave behind a cleaner field than they found, and to this day. If you visit Granado and look past the rookies doing push-ups in the sun, you might see an old man sweeping sand with quiet grace. And if you ask who he is, someone might whisper, "That's Chief Rawlins." And if he sweeps near you, you better not quit, because he only shows up when you're worth saving.